Photographer Stephen Strom seeks to capture the essence of the land.
Color is the first thing that intrigues me about a landscape. I think that my intrigue with patterns, particularly in the Four Corners area, derives from my experiences as an astronomer. There are two times when you're able to look at the landscape with some level of relaxation. One is directly before sunset, and the other is in the morning, where I was particularly open to seeing the desert because the night's measurements were over, and I was waiting for the photographic plates that I had taken during the night to wash, and there before me was the desert. Photographing the landscape in some ways creates a sense of intimacy with the land. What I experience when I'm looking through a camera is first the tension of searching for a pattern that I know is there but can't quite locate. What happens next is I think I find it, and I feel a great sense of relief. It's almost as if every muscle in my body relaxes. And then when I move away, what happens is that I'm concerned that what I've done hasn't done any justice to the landscape, has failed in some ways to create the beauty of what's out there. It's rare that I'll photograph a landscape as a whole, but rather what I'll try to do is to abstract from the landscape something that I think captures its essence. I tend to be drawn to color patterns that are barely discernible at first glance. Very subtle changes in what appears to many people as a nearly monochromatic landscape, but hidden within it are very subtle changes in color which then draw me in. I usually am able to find some alteration which, superposed on the color rhythms manifest in the scene, provide another layer of intrigue. The other thing that I then tend to notice are much smaller scale variations, rocks across the landscape or foliage across the landscape, which draw you in to search more deeply for intricate patterns not seen at first glance. I became intrigued with patterns not only on Earth, but patterns manifest in the images taken by orbiting satellites. And Mars in particular intrigued me because the planet is in some ways so similar to some of the more extreme desert landscapes on Earth. And the patterns that drew my attention on Mars first appealed to me aesthetically, but then I began to realize that they were the same patterns that were created on Earth by the elemental forces, such as wind, volcanic activity and the erosion patterns resulting from the flow of water over the surface. So the patterns not only resonate with you as a human being as something beautiful, but they reveal the actions of similar forces on very different planetary surfaces. I think what I've learned about the land is that it's enormously important to a human being's sense of what she or he really is. The land is elemental. It's where we came from. It has a voice. And there's a wonderful expression that comes from the Mormon prophet Brigham Young, namely that nature is the reflection of God. And while I'm not a religious person, I think that that quote captures something that is shared across cultures, across religions, namely that the land is something incredibly special. It's a place where we can discover ourselves, and if we lose our connection to the land, we've lost a connection to something that makes us human. We live on a remarkable planet, one that was created literally out of the dust ejected by dying stars and assembled over 1 million years into a young Earth, and then over 4.5 billion years into the beautiful planet that we now live on, a planet which would appear to be robust, but whose surface is extraordinarily fragile and subject to the predations of human beings if they are not careful. And I hope that the photographs that I've been fortunate enough to be able to take in the course of my life will somehow influence people to treat the planet that we have with enormous respect.